Alright, welcome back everyone. Now, as you can see, this is not the usual setup we got going for my videos. Usually it's like sit down or out by a car, but today I decided I wanted to explore the more photography side of my channel. I know I've talked a lot about video lately. I got my R6 Mark II, blah, 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 blah. Well, obviously I want to show off its photo capabilities. Now, I don't have the greatest selection of pictures to choose from here, but these are just some recent pictures I did take. So I figured we could go through these and I could kind of talk you through the process of RL photography editing his photos. First off, trying to this little studio setup here. Please let me know down in the comments how it looks. Second of all, let me know how the audio sounds. I'm using this old ass Blue Yeti microphone. But otherwise, I think this could turn out for a pretty great video. So let's get into it. Alright, so first here you can see my car in the woods. I took this picture, I believe it's on a 50mm f2.2. I did open it up a little bit. I know the 50mm could shoot at 1.8. I decided, let me not be an irresponsible photographer and let me actually shoot at something other than 1.8. So I did pick 2.2 there. ISO 400, just what I needed. Shutter speed 320th of a second. That was kind of just is what it was. So let's see. I think the first thing I would do to this picture is, it is pretty good, but you see there's some chromatic aberrations. So I think what I'm gonna do first is scroll down here, and I'm just gonna decrease some of those, get that purple out of there, because honestly, there's not really any purple in here that we need. My second thing. First, I'm going to mess with the balance here. Now, for this, even though it is in the winter, it is giving some nice soft vibes. So I think I'm going to go more yellow on this one, just a little bit. So let's see, that's where it was on its own. Probably warm it up a little bit, just a tad. Let's see, tint. We got tint. Let's see, it was at +2. So I'm going to leave it at +2. I honestly don't really ever touch tint. It's just kind of there. So next I'm going to go to exposure. Now, overall, I think the picture is exposed pretty well. So I'm actually going to leave that where it is for now. Usually, you'll have to fix it, but for now, we'll leave it there. Contrast, I only give it a little bit here because I usually do most of my contrast adjustments in the curves. So I'm going to bump that up just a little bit, probably 10 to 15. That's really all I ever do in the contrast slider. And then the highlights, you can see that the highlights are pretty harsh here, so I am going to back those down quite a bit just to get more detailed back in the top of the pictures. You can see I did take this with this kind of light flare on purpose. I thought it gave a nice cinematic effect through the trees. We got some nice leading lines up to the top of the frame, and then we have the car horizontal on the ground, giving us those nice leading lines to the edge of the frame. Let's see, shadows. For the shadows, I'm actually going to lighten those up a little bit, just because I know I have black wheels. I know, shoot me, people hate black wheels, but I have a soft spot for black wheels. Anyway, so we'll lift those shadows up a little bit, just so you can see my wheels, and then onto the whites. Whites are kind of hard for me to decide what I should do with them, but I do think I am going to, let's see, at 0 they look like this, and I think I'm going to honestly slightly decrease them. That'll probably be fixed up in the curves later. Blacks, just gonna give some blacks just to get some of that depth back in the picture. Texture, I'm gonna give it texture. Clarity, I do feel because there is a lot of texture in this picture, a lot of trees, a lot of lines, I am going to decrease the clarity a little bit, just to I feel sometimes when a picture is too sharp, it kind of ruins the naturalness of it, if you will. So I'm going to decrease the clarity a little bit, dehaze. And then we can leave dehaze where it is. A little bit of vibrance. Never touch saturation. Vibrance just boosts the colors that are there. Saturation starts introducing colors that aren't there. So we're going to leave the saturation where it is, and curves. Alright, so the curves, usually I do a basic S curve. We'll do a point here. We'll do a point here. So this is shadows, highlights, midtones. So I'll do a little midtone here. I'm going to introduce some fade. little bit of fade there. Let's see, highlights. Bring the highlights down just a bit, and the midtones. Let's see. This is a little harder to edit just because of the way the sun is. Do very little shadows here. I am going to introduce some fade. So as you can see, we haven't done much yet. Honestly, most of this edit is going to come in the colors because the lighting of the picture is not half bad. Let's see. So honestly, with these curves, like I never know really what I want to do with a picture until I see it. Obviously, you know, like if it's snowy out, you might want to be more blue, or if it's rainy out, more blue and green. With this picture, I took it. I wasn't sure whether it was going to be kind of like a cooler tone because we're in winter right now, or if it was going to be like a more warmer tone because of how the sun was hitting the trees in the car. So honestly, I think for now, I'm going to leave this. I'm going to leave that curve alone for green and magenta. Maybe add a little green in my highlights. No green in my shadows. None in my midtones. Let's see, so for the blues, I'm going to add some yellow in my highlights because to really encompass that. We're going to really encompass that, oh my god, what is it called? That more warmer tone. So you see the curves came in a little bit there color-wise. Next up is the, what would you call this? Color grading. Oh, actually, first we're going to go to the color mixer. So with these, my general process is I honestly slide the sliders back and forth, see what changes, and go, huh, yeah, that looks better. So that's what I'm going to do here. So let's see, back and forth. There's not really any red, so I'm going to leave that there. Let's see, oranges. Even though it is a warmer picture, I am going to introduce some of the oranges back in there. Just kind of get that picture of that color of the wood in the dirt below my car. Now, if you watch North Borders, I love North Borders. He hates when cars are parked on grass or gravel, but I think in this it's okay just because of the fact that it is like a car park, like it is a parking lot, but it is at like a hiking trail. You know, I take what I could get here. So next, yellows. So for the yellows, I'm gonna go just a little towards the orange, kind of encompass those oranges there. Hit a little saturation, maybe tone down the luminance a bit, just so not so many things are fighting to be the brightest thing in this picture. Greens. We do have some greens up in the trees here. I am gonna make those more green. Bring some luminance into that, or out of it, so you could, because now once we brought the luminance out of it, it kind of stops blending in with the rest of the highlights. You can kind of see those deep greens, those deep and light greens. So leave that like that. So as you see, this is really where it starts taking shape. You can see more of the oranges in the trees, more of the green of the leaves. But we still have that nice light flare up top. So let's see, blues. So the blues really depend. When I do a lot of car photography, a lot of aquas tend to show up in the windshield of the car, even with a polarizer or an ND filter. So usually what I do is I put these all the way blue, and then when you get to the blue, you can kind of, as you can see in my car right now, it's changing that color down there. So what I usually do is go more blue, and then I'll take some saturation out of it. As you see in this, there's not a lot of blues, so what I might do is just take all the saturation out of the blues. But the blues are giving a little bit of color to the gravel down there, so I am going to leave the blues for now, and we'll fix that with a mask, which is another huge part of editing, is masking, selecting different parts of your photo. I know some people might think that's too much. I personally love the editing aspect of photos. A little less than taking the photo, but it's still like a nice touch. So we're going to leave the blues there. We got purple. There's not really any purple that matters in this photo. We got pink, or magenta, if you want to be exact. Alright, so I think that's what I'm going to leave that there for colors for now. So you see we brought more detail back in the trees up here from before. You can't really see this tree, now you can. Anyway, so then we go to color grading. These are the colors that are present in your shadows, midtones, and highlights. So for this, for shadow, because we're kind of doing a cooler kind of photo, a warmer kind of photo, maybe I'm going to put these to more yellow, give it just the tiniest bit of saturation. I don't want to overdo the yellows, obviously. Midtones. When a photo is warm, I kind of like to make the midtones a little green, bring that nature feeling back. And then for highlights, for these I'll probably mess around a little bit, see what I like. I feel like the reds are good. I think the reds bring out those trees a little bit more without overdoing any of the colors. So we're gonna make that red. And then, alright, so we have a pretty good base image here. The image was pretty good already, but I think, so what I'm gonna do next is, we're gonna start masking. So I think the first mask I'm gonna do is, I'm gonna do a radial gradient, and we're gonna do it over the sun here. And I'm gonna dehaze that just a bit, kind of bring more of that flare back, more of that glow. Sorry, the way I have to have this so that OBS could capture it is crazy. Whoa, I didn't even know I could do that. That's sick. We're gonna leave that up there. It's gonna make my life so much easier. So we're gonna do a little bit of dehaze. It gives it a little more glow, like that. And then we're gonna hit it with a temp like that. So that brings a little more of the warmness back in the sun. And it makes sense because the rest of the photo is warm. So we're kind of exaggerating that warm sun glowing out over the car. What I might do is tone it down a little bit. Maybe tone the dehaze down a tad. Kind of like that. But I am also going to, I think, do a little less with the, kind of like that. Yeah, I don't mind that. So next what we're going to do is this little patch here is kind of highlights. Actually, what am I doing instead? So this little patch here on the ground is kind of taking my eye away from the car. So what I might actually do is I'm actually going to crop this a little bit first. I think. Shot. Do that. There we go. We get rid of a little bit of that distracting ground stuff that really doesn't have a lot to do with the picture. So then now we're going to take a linear gradient. A lot of things take linear gradients. We're going to do that. We're going to see how good Lightroom's AI detection is for select subject. Take a little bit of that. And we're just going to darken that ground up a bit. A little less highlights. A little less exposure. I am going to add some clarity back in it though, just to bring that detail out in the dirt. A little bit of clarity. Maybe a little bit of fade. A little bit of shadow. Just like that. Bing, boom. So this is going to be a huge change here. So we need to get the blue out of the car because my car is gray and now it just looks like a blue mess. So what I'm going to do is hit select subject. And as you can see, Lightroom has started to do a very good job at finding your subject. And now, I'm honestly just going to go down here. I'm going to hit, let's see here, the point color. I'm going to find that blue, and I'm just going to take the saturation out of it. Before, after, before, after. As you see now my car is actually gray again. I think this picture is shaping up pretty cool. Brought the gray back. You could see through the windows now, which is pretty cool. The polarizer is doing its job. I'm honestly kind of happy with this at the moment. If I need to, honestly, sometimes I go down here, and you don't have to really play with these if you don't want to, but I'm going to. It's like the calibration settings for your camera. Sometimes I just like to change these around a little bit. So it was at 0. Probably gonna leave that one there for red primary. So this looks like it's doing like a little bit of fade, almost like a rustic kind of look. So I'm actually gonna turn that down a little bit. Leave that like that. Green. I kind of want those deep greens, those deep kind of matte kind of greens. So I am gonna mess with that one a little bit. And then blue. Blue, I like that there's not a lot of blue in this picture, so I'm gonna leave that where it is. And then next I would just like probably clean up little details. So like this sign here definitely has to go. See how good of a job AI could do in Lightroom, that is. Let's try this. See how generative AI does. We're gonna remove that. Let's see how it works. Wow, honestly, phenomenal job. Let's look through the 3 though, just to see if we like them. I think I'm actually gonna leave it with number. Probably number. I think I like number 2. Yep, leave that like that. So before, after. Before, after. So you can see we still got to keep the blues in the ground and in that like the patches of ice, because it was icy out, it was very cold. So we got to keep that nice blue detail in the bottom, but we got to keep the nice gray of my car. What else I might do is probably do a little bit of a brush over this part of my car. Obviously, like the sun is shooting down on the other side of the car, so this is going to be dark. But I am going to lighten it up just a bit, just to get a little more detail out of my wheels and the car itself. And honestly, that is probably where I would leave that picture. So we're going to keep it there. I really hope you guys did enjoy this sort of picture, this sort of video. If you would like more sit-down videos like this, drop it down in the comments below. I'm starting to get into the video aspect of car. I'll probably do like a lot of car videography other than what I do for these videos. So if you would like to see that, I am going to post a little preview here. If you would like to see more of that, make sure you follow my Instagram. And if you would like to see the process of how I edited that, or how I plan on editing future kind of speed ramp-ish edits, also let me know down in the comments. I appreciate you guys viewing, and I'll catch you in the next one.